Hello and welcome to the Strong, Healthy, Happy podcast. My name's Debra. I'm here today, very impromptu. I thought I would record an episode all about the school holidays and how to stay mindful of your goals during the school holidays. Now, the reason why I've done this off the cuff and very reactionary is because I no longer have school age kids. I've got three grown up kids, with my youngest being 17 in her second year at college. And I don't have any idea when her half terms are. She's old enough now to get herself to and from college, and I don't really get involved. And she never really tells me very much. And it's only because I was chatting to a friend who has younger children that I realised it's the school holidays. Obviously, I know it's Halloween. I knew half term was soon to be here, but it's here. Some of you may be listening to this and you may have already had your kids off school for a week. Some of you may be listening to this and you're only at the beginning of the school holidays. So whether you're listening to this for the October half terms, or whether it's the summer holidays, or any disruption to your normal routine, this podcast is going to apply. And I'm hoping, I know so, that you're going to get some really useful tips from this podcast that you'll be able to apply no matter the age of the kids. You just have to obviously tweak the advice to suit the age group of the kids that you have. Some of you may still be working during the school holidays and juggling that alongside summer camps and childcare, and some of you may be taking time off from work. Some of you may be home most of the time looking after your kids, so you're kind of a bit of a dab hand at this. But no matter your circumstances, I know that there'll be at least one nugget of information that is going to help you. Now, I've always been health conscious. And if you've been listening to my podcast right from the beginning and you've learned a lot more about me, I've shared lots of my past personal experiences, you will know that I've always been very health conscious. And with three young kids, I had three kids under 5 when they were that age. And I know what it's like to be busy with kids. One thing I've always managed to do is I've managed to stay mindful of my goals, my health goals, whatever my goal might have been during that time, during school holidays. Now, I do have a helpful mother who has helped me out. I also have a helpful partner who will come home from work and take over. So it does also, I'm very grateful for the support that I have that enable me to do the things that I want to do. But I know, and I do remember, even though it was a long time ago, how your time is impacted when your kids are off school, and how you have to adapt with them being around a lot more, and you can't do the things that you really want to do, that you normally do, at the times that you normally do them, and in the way that you normally do them, because the kids are off school. And boy, we know when the kids are off school. Now, whilst you can still stay mindful of your goals during holiday, I want to just emphasize that I'm not suggesting you need to be over restrictive. I'm not suggesting that you can't enjoy a meal out or an ice cream or a dessert with your kids. What I want to try and help you realize and understand is that you don't have to let the school holidays get in the way of your goals or give you a reason to not continue putting the effort in to stay mindful of your goals. And also, not using the school holidays as another excuse you can get out the bag that gives you a reason not to keep working towards those goals that do matter to you, because you're here listening to this podcast and maybe you've been trying and putting in lots of effort. You don't need to let the school holidays get in the way of your goals. You don't have to put your goals on hold until after the school holidays. Now, are the kids off for a week? Are they off for 2 weeks? If you wait that period of time and you throw the towel in because, oh, it's the school holidays, I can't do anything I want to do, so I'm just going to sack it all off. Problem with that is a week of quitting, basically, or not focusing on the small things that you possibly could do and just saying, oh, I'll just start again after, is you're actually going to probably take yourself further away from where you are right now to where you'll be at the end of the school holidays. And you know deep down it's probably not going to make you feel good. And as you know, I'm very big on being guided by how you want to feel and to do things that make you feel. And also to recognize that doing small things and doing what you can do during the school holidays is a much more healthier approach to things like school holidays and any disruption to your normal routine. To have a mindset of, well, if I can't do things the way I usually do, I can't quite cope with this new routine, the kids are driving me mad, I am not going to do anything at all. This is a bit of an all or nothing mindset and approach, and it's holding you back, because every time you put this mindset into action that you can't do things the way you want to do them, how you usually do them, it's going to take you further away from where you want to be. And deep down, you don't want that. So realize that you don't need to do things perfectly. They don't need to be done in the same way that you would normally do them when the kids are at school. Be open to the change of routine. Be open to the benefits that the school holidays can give you. You get to spend more time with your kids. There's no rushing around to get them to school for the start of school in the early morning. That can be stressful. You can enjoy a slower pace and all the benefits that can be experienced during school holidays. We love our children as much as they might drive us mad. We do love them, and we need to remember the benefits of the school holidays in between the frustrations and the bickering. Let's be real. Now, by the end of this podcast episode, you're going to have some helpful tips that you can apply. You're also going to have a mindset switch and how you approach the school holidays. And this is what I want for you, the listener, the most, is this switch in mindset, and to come away from, well, I can't do it how I want, so I'm not going to do it at all mindset. So let's start at the end, and we're going to work backwards. So think about the first day the kids are going back to school again. You're rushing, you're getting up, back into the old routine, shouting at the kids to get dressed and to get out the door to get to school. How is it that you want to feel on that first day back when the kids go back? How do you want to feel? And really think about this. Do you want to feel pretty happy with how you showed up for yourself? We're not looking at you being perfect, but are you happy that most of the time you acted in a way that aligned with your goals and you feel good for it? You may not have lost any weight, but you haven't gained any, and you feel pretty good. It's a nice feeling. Or do you want to feel that you've let everything go? You feel like you're back at square one, you don't feel good in yourself, and you feel a little bit regretful about how you showed up for yourself during the school holidays. Now, you won't necessarily be back at square one, because you're not the same person that you were when you were once at square one. So it's not about being back at square one, but it's about feeling that feeling of a little bit of regret, or you wish you could have done things differently. It's not a nice feeling, and it's not one that I would want for you to experience. So really think about this, because recognizing how you want to feel on the first day back at school when the kids go back to school is going to help you show up for yourself in a way that will end in that result of how you want to feel on the first day back at school. And this leads me into setting expectations. Now, when I say setting expectations, they need to be realistic. They're going to be different. Maybe when the kids are at school, you go to the gym 3 times a week. Maybe you get out every day for a walk. Maybe you do, you have time to prepare loads of meals, and everything is where it needs to be and everything's great. Now the kids are off and it's impacting your expectations. You're not going to get to the gym 3 times a week. Maybe you will, that's great. But what if you can't? If you can't do 3 times a week, can you lower that expectation and make it a little bit more realistic? Or could you accept that actually maybe you're going to need to do some home workouts? Like, what are the expectations that you can set for yourself, and be really clear? Because if you do want to continue progressing towards your weight loss goal, Is it a realistic expectation to have during the school holidays for you as an individual? It is possible, but is it a realistic expectation? Are you prepared to have the restraint and the compromise that it requires during the school holidays? And you can set clear expectations for yourself in all areas, not just in exercise, but in all areas of what's realistic. Because let's face it, your time is going to be impacted in a different way. And you may not have as much time to focus on yourself because you've got kids off school. So I want you to go into the week knowing your clear expectations, make them achievable. Don't have them so high that you're setting yourself up to fail. Set your expectations and remember that first day back at school, how you want to feel. What do you need to do in order to feel that way? And write out your expectations in all the different areas and make them low barrier, easy to achieve. And I'm going to go into more detail into all of those different expectations. With your expectations as well, is it's really important to not get too hung up on what you can't do. Oh, I can't do this, so I'm just not going to do anything. Oh, I can't do that. Can't get to the gym. No, I'm not going to do anything. I want you to remember that you need to focus on what you can do and not stress about the things that you can't. If you focus overly on all those things you can't do, it's just like throwing your dummy out the pram. And you wouldn't want your baby to do that or your kid to have a tantrum if they can't do something. It's about resetting those expectations and thinking about the things that you can do. And there is always something that you can do to minimize the impact on your goals and to also benefit the way that you feel and to keep you feeling good during the school holidays. Now, this leads me into a change of routine. Now, it's a bit like Monday to Friday, you have a routine when the kids are usually at school, right? You have a routine Monday to Friday, the weekend comes, it looks different. And the advice I'm going to give you now is no different to what I would advise my clients in how to approach the weekends when they're humstruck on the routine they have Monday to Friday, and then they get thrown on the weekends. Except that your routine is going to look different during the school holidays, just like it does on a weekend compared to the weekdays. Accept it. Accept that it's going to look different. Think about what you have on. Think about what your routine is going to look like day to day. And within that routine that you have, so, you've got days out, if you've got days at home, if you've got friends over, are you going out? Like, what are you doing? And around all these commitments and around these other arrangements and considerations for the kids that are off school, when can you schedule in time to prioritize yourself to do the things that you want to do? When can you fit in time for your workouts? When can you fit in time to do your grocery shop so that you have food in your house that supports your goal and is readily available and stops you reaching for those high calorie snacks that don't serve you, they don't fill you up, and they just lead to, more snacks and take you further away from that goal that you want? What can you do? When can you schedule in time to get a walk in, whether it be by yourself or whether you're going to involve the kids and get them out? What can you do in this new routine of the school holidays? What does it look like? Use your diary. Maybe you use a handwritten calendar on your wall. Maybe you have a handwritten diary. Maybe you use your phone diary. The same way you would schedule time in for appointments for your nails, your hair, the dentist, your eyelashes, your eyebrows, whatever it is you get done, do the same for your health and fitness goals. Be open to change. I've already mentioned if you usually get to the gym, but it's proving too difficult, do a home workout. It is still beneficial and you are still stimulating your muscles. And more importantly than the physiological responses is how much better you feel from doing movement, no matter what that movement is. So don't sack things off just because you can't do them in your usual way. Do them, but be open to change. Maybe you're going to need to do things very early morning before your partner leaves for work, or whatever your setup is at home, you may have to consider the childcare, not leaving kids on their own for too long if they are old enough to stay home on their own. How can you fit things in? Can you do things at different times? Don't be so closed-minded that you can only do things at your normal time. Otherwise, you're not going to do it at all. If you stay in that mindset, you're going to find it really difficult to get things done. And it's really important that you do prioritize time for yourself. And I don't know about you, but I distinctly remember saying, I shared it with friends and with people that I would exercise with, but I am a much better mother. I am more patient. I am kinder. I am a nicer all-round mother when I've had time to do things for myself. It's like I liken it to being on an aeroplane. God forbid it should never happen, but you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can put the oxygen mask on everyone else. You have to look after yourself so that you can be there at your best for everyone else. And I feel the same way when it comes to having a little bit of time to prioritize yourself. It doesn't make you selfish. It makes you smart, because it makes you a much more fun, patient, and happy person so that you can be there for your kids. Now, when it comes to being active, depending the age of your kids, and the older they get, the more fun it gets, because getting your kids involved in being active and different activities gets you involved, and it's something you can do together. So as teenage kids, I used to do things like Go Ape or whatever climbing ropes equivalent, bike rides, things like that, tennis, whatever you fancy, whatever they enjoy. It gets them moving and it gets them out. I know when the kids hit those older sort of year 6 and above, they don't want to go to the park anymore. They're too big for that. So you kind of have to change the activity to suit the age group. And you need to make it a little bit more fun and more interesting, maybe more adventurous. Get some of their friends out with them. If they're old enough to go out on their own and you don't need to supervise them anymore, great. That gives you time to do what you want to do. But think about getting the kids active and getting involved in their activity with them, not standing on the sidelines, not looking after the bags, being active, be adventurous, challenge yourself, you'll surprise yourself, and it will be great fun. There's always something, no matter what the age group of the kids, that you can do. There's lots of, at the moment in half term, pumpkin trails and things like that involve walking and playing. So you can do that with them. Now, I've kind of talked about this, but not labeled it. It kind of comes under the same heading as the change of routine, accepting the change of routine that I started off with in this podcast. But basically, have a plan. I've mentioned this on my podcast before, but if you fail to plan to fail. It's that old chestnut. You don't need to fail at anything. There's nothing to fail at, but have a plan. Plan out your week. What arrangements do you have? What are you doing? Like I said before, days at home, days out. And on these days, think about each day and what you're doing. What are you going to be eating? What are your meals on those days? Now, you might think, well, that sounds a bit OTT, Debra. Meal planning around each day, like that's a bit over the top. And I would recommend that you do that as much as possible, because leaving things to chance, leaving things to luck, winging it ends up in you not having anything prepared, the kids being hungry and you phoning for a takeaway. And that doesn't align necessarily. It's not that you can't have a takeaway. You absolutely can. But if you're trying to be mindful, you're trying to make smart choices, it may not align with the goals that you have. So plan your day. What does your day look like? What are you going to be eating? And I'm talking about, typically your lunches. If you're on a day out, are you going to go on a day out, not have thought about it? Don't take food with you, turn up, and the food vendors are all fast food and it's not what you particularly want to stay mindful of your goals. You're going to be stuck with nothing, or you're going to have to eat whatever it is that they have. And you'd have wished that you'd have prepared your own food. So really think about your days, what they're going to be looking like. excuse me, what you're going to be making. If you don't want to be cooking all through the holidays, we know the kids eat us out of house and home. They don't stop eating. Have some nutritious meals for them and for you, some good old family favourites. Do a bit of batch cooking. You don't want to be in the kitchen every day. If you have a slow cooker, dust it off, get it out. I can't recommend the Board of Lunch books enough. He has 2 slow cooker recipe books out currently, with a third one coming soon. I'm not his agent. I'm not on commission. I just love his books. My kids love every recipe I've made of his. And so they're winners when it comes to family meals. And there are lots of other recipes online. Like, do what you like and what suits your family and your tastes. If you are planning a special meal out and you want to be able to take part and relax and enjoy it, you absolutely can. But if you've planned your week and you know you're all going out to wherever it is, and it involves you going out for a meal and you want to be able to relax and enjoy it, if you've planned in advance, you can relax and enjoy the meal. You can have the dessert because you've been able to plan ahead and make the adjustments at the other meals surrounding it. Or maybe, you've eaten a little less for lunch, so you've got more calories to play with for the evening when you go out for this meal that you want to fully participate in. So having a plan really does help that. Remember, if you want to stay mindful of your weight loss goals, you do need to pick your indulgences. You can't have everything every day and expect to make progress. You are going to have to pick and choose and think about what you want most and be selective and pick your indulgences. And just final reminder is to always do what you can and not stress about the things that you can't do. Control what you can and don't worry about what you can't control. And there is always things that you can control, like portion sizes if you're eating out, how much you eat, eating slowly, things like this, noticing fullness and stopping, allowing yourself to leave some food when you have reached that point of fullness. Enjoy the time off with your kids and keep doing the things that make you feel good. And no matter how small, one small positive thing that you do, one small positive behavior will likely lead to another small positive behavior and another succession of positive behaviors. And this will make you feel better. And when you feel better, you will feel more able to deal with your lovely kids and all the bickering, and you will feel more sane and you will feel more happy. You don't have to completely sack off all your hard work that you've put in prior to the school holidays. So remember, how you want to feel on that first day back, that the kids go back to school after the holidays. Stay mindful, control what you can, and most of all, feel good.